But when you allow yourself moments of quiet reflection, your intuition can surface. You become connected to your deeper wisdom, the part of you that knows beyond reason, beyond fear, beyond doubt. This clarity guides your actions with precision and calm. The practice of stillness also reveals the nature of impermanence. When everything is moving and changing outside, the quiet inside reminds you that all things are in flux. Recognizing this helps you release attachment to outcomes and control. It teaches patience and acceptance, which are essential for inner strength. Stillness is often misunderstood as passivity or weakness. In truth, it is a form of strength, an active choice to pause, breathe, and center yourself amid life's storms. It requires courage to face your own mind without distraction, to sit with discomfort, and to resist the urge to escape into busyness or noise. Cultivating stillness is like training a muscle. At first, the mind resists, jumping from one thought to another. But with regular practice, the spaces between thoughts grow longer. You begin to rest more deeply in the present moment. This presence sharpens your awareness and sharpens your ability to respond rather than react. In the clarity born of stillness, you find yourself grounded, not by external circumstances, but by a steady inner light that cannot be shaken. Discomfort is often seen as something to avoid, an unpleasant visitor that disrupts our peace and happiness. Yet, discomfort is not the enemy. It is a master in disguise, a powerful teacher who guides us toward growth and transformation. To build true inner strength, one must learn to welcome discomfort, not flee from it. In life, discomfort appears in many forms: physical pain, emotional struggle, uncertainty, failure, rejection. These moments are unavoidable. They come to test the limits of your patience, courage, and resolve. It is tempting to resist or deny these feelings, but resistance only prolongs suffering. The secret lies in leaning into the discomfort with curiosity and openness. When you embrace discomfort, you shift your relationship with it. It ceases to be a threat and becomes a signal, a message inviting you to pay attention, to learn, to evolve. Like a skilled teacher, discomfort challenges your assumptions, breaks old patterns, and reveals hidden strengths you did not know you possessed. Consider the body during physical training. When muscles burn and fatigue sets in, it is discomfort that triggers adaptation and growth. Without pushing through these boundaries, strength and endurance cannot increase. The same principle applies to the mind and spirit. Mental and emotional discomfort stretch your capacity to endure hardship and develop resilience. Discomfort also dissolves illusions. It exposes where you have been hiding behind comfort zones and excuses. It forces you to confront fears and doubts that have quietly controlled your actions. In this confrontation, you gain clarity about what truly matters and what has been holding you back. The process is not easy. It requires patience and persistence. There will be moments when discomfort feels overwhelming or unjust. Yet in those moments, you have a choice: to retreat or to engage. Choosing to engage is an act of courage. It is a declaration that you will not be defined by hardship, but refined by it. Moreover, discomfort teaches humility. It reminds us that we are not invincible and that growth is a continual process. There is no final destination where suffering disappears, but there is a journey toward mastery where discomfort becomes familiar and no longer feared. To embrace discomfort is to accept life's natural rhythm of challenge and rest, effort and ease. It means trusting that every difficult experience carries within it the seeds of wisdom and strength. When you learn to see discomfort as a teacher, you move from victimhood into empowerment. You become the student who listens attentively and the warrior who faces the unknown with steady heart. True power is often misunderstood as the ability to control, possess, or dominate. Yet the deepest form of power lies not in holding on tightly, but in the art of letting go. Letting go does not mean giving up or weakness. It is a deliberate release that creates space for strength to grow. You hold power, you must first learn to let go. Attachment binds us like invisible chains. We cling to people, outcomes, beliefs, and even identities as if they are the source of our security. But this attachment is a form of resistance. It holds us prisoner to fear, expectation, and limitation. The more we hold on to what is passing or uncertain, the more our energy is drained in the struggle to maintain control. Letting go is an act of courage. It means surrendering the illusion that you can force life to conform to your desires. It requires trusting the flow of existence even when it leads to unknown places. When you let go of attachment to outcomes, you free yourself from the anxiety of results. This freedom strengthens your presence and your ability to act from a place of calm power. In many ways, to hold power is to hold space, not to dominate or fill every moment with effort. It is the power of restraint, the wisdom of timing, and the clarity that arises when you release unnecessary burden. When you let go of anger, resentment, or past wounds, you reclaim your energy and direct it toward growth and healing. Letting go also means releasing rigid identities and limiting beliefs. We often define ourselves by what we have or what we have achieved, but these definitions can become prisons. True power comes when you see yourself beyond these labels and embrace your authentic nature, fluid, adaptable, and free. There is a paradox in this practice. By releasing control, you gain control. By surrendering your grip, you hold the strongest foundation. Like a tree that bends with the wind instead of resisting it, letting go allows you to remain rooted even amidst change and uncertainty. This process is neither quick nor easy. Letting go requires patience and repeated practice. It often feels like a loss before it becomes a gain. But with each release, you build resilience and deepen your connection to what is essential. The power that arises from letting go is gentle yet unshakable. It is a presence that does not need to prove itself because it is grounded in truth. It moves with grace rather than force, opening doors where walls once stood. To hold power through letting go is to live in harmony with the natural flow of life. It is the wisdom of knowing when to grasp and when to release, knowing that true strength is born from freedom, not confinement. Motivation is a powerful spark. It ignites passion, fuels enthusiasm, and drives us forward. But motivation is also fleeting, like the flame of a candle flickering in the wind. It can be strong one moment and vanish the next. Relying solely on motivation to achieve lasting change or growth is like depending on the weather to decide when you work. This is why consistency beats motivation every time. Consistency is the quiet force behind transformation. It is the daily commitment, the small steps taken again and again, regardless of how you feel in the moment. While motivation is unpredictable and external, consistency is deliberate and internal. It is a habit, a way of showing up for yourself that does not depend on mood or circumstance. When motivation wanes, consistency holds the line. It is what carries you through moments of doubt, fatigue, or distraction. It creates momentum by building routines that become part of your identity. Over time, these repeated actions compound into profound growth far beyond what bursts of motivation alone can achieve. Think of an athlete who trains every day, rain or shine, whether inspired or not. Their progress is not the result of fleeting motivation, but of steady, persistent effort. This principle applies not only to physical training, but to any area of life, whether learning a new skill, building relationships, or cultivating inner peace. Consistency is a form of respect for yourself. It signals that your goals and values matter enough to prioritize even when the initial excitement fades. It teaches patience, discipline, and trust in the process. You learn that success is not a moment, but a journey made up of small, consistent actions. Moreover, consistency strengthens your character. It shows that you are reliable and committed, not only to others, but to yourself. This reliability builds confidence and self-trust, which in turn makes motivation easier to sustain. Paradoxically, by focusing less on feeling motivated and more on being consistent, motivation often returns more naturally. Consistency also reduces resistance. When something becomes habitual, it requires less mental effort and decision-making. It becomes part of your daily rhythm, making it easier to continue even when external circumstances change. This steadiness becomes a refuge amid chaos. In contrast, chasing motivation can lead to frustration and burnout. Waiting for the perfect mood or ideal condition delays progress. It leaves you at the mercy of your emotions instead of guiding them. In essence, consistency creates freedom from the ups and downs of motivation. It builds a foundation that supports your growth regardless of how you feel on any given day. It is the steady heartbeat beneath the rhythm of life, quiet, persistent, and ultimately unstoppable. Life is filled with emotional storms, waves of anger, fear, sadness, or anxiety that rise suddenly and threaten to overwhelm us. It is natural to feel swept away by these feelings, to believe that we are defined by them. But true inner strength comes from realizing that you are not the storm itself. You are the observer of the storm. This distinction may seem subtle, but it is profound. The storm is temporary, ever-changing, and external to your true self. The observer is the silent witness within you, the part that remains steady regardless of what arises. To build inner strength, you must cultivate the ability to step back and watch your emotions without being consumed by them. When you identify with the storm, when you say, "I am angry" or "I am afraid," you merge with the turbulence. Your mind becomes a battlefield where thoughts and emotions clash, and you lose clarity. But when you remember that you are the observer, you create space between yourself and the emotion. You see the anger, but you are not anger. You feel fear, but you are not fear. This space is freedom. It allows you to respond rather than react. When the storm hits, instead of being dragged into chaos, you meet it with calm presence. You acknowledge the feeling, understand its source, and decide how to act with awareness rather than impulse. This shift transforms emotional storms from threats into teachers. The observer is grounded in awareness and compassion. It watches without judgment, accepting what is without trying to change or resist it immediately. This acceptance does not mean passivity or ignoring problems. Instead, it is a powerful stance of clarity and strength, enabling you to navigate challenges with grace. Practicing observation requires mindfulness and patience. The mind naturally wants to identify with emotions because it is easier to react than to reflect. But through meditation, breathing exercises, or simply pausing in moments of intensity, you can strengthen your observer's capacity. Over time, you begin to recognize patterns in your emotional storms, the triggers, the habitual responses, the stories you tell yourself. This awareness is the foundation for transformation. You no longer feel powerless or victimized by your feelings. Instead, you become the calm center in the eye of the storm. By embracing your role as observer, you reclaim your peace. You find that emotions no longer dictate your state of being. You move through life with steadiness and clarity, anchored in the unshakable presence that watches all things pass.